Hi, Attorney Jeffrey Randa back again with another in-car installment of 2-Minute Legal. And today I want to talk about a very serious type of offense, indecent and aggravated indecent exposure charges. If you're facing one of these, you're probably freaking out right now. Let's go from top to bottom and address your concerns. Number one, am I going to jail? No. Our firm has a 100% success rate keeping people out of jail. Never out of the countless, and I mean countless, indecent and aggravated indecent exposure charges we've handled. Has any of our clients who's only been charged with indecent or aggravated indecent exposure gone to jail? Period. Never. 100% success rate. So jail, at least when we're in charge, is pretty much off the menu. Number two, am I going to be placed on the sex offender registry? Almost certainly not. Here's the good news. The only two exceptions to being placed on the sex offender registry for a conviction for either indecent or aggravated indecent exposure are, number one, if the victim, meaning someone who saw the exposure, is a minor, or number two, if you are adjudged or previously have been adjudged a sexually delinquent person. This is a whole separate court finding, and rather than get into it all here, it means you have to have a horrible prior sex crimes record. If neither of those things applies to you, then you're not going to jail and you're not going to be placed on the sex offender registry. Number three, we have to keep this off your record and minimize the impact to your record. There is no situation in life where being convicted of indecent exposure or aggravated indecent exposure is going to help you. It's not something you put on your resume. We have to keep it off. Then, of course, we have to avoid what is really the biggest risk, and that is that you will be put into sex offender counseling until the stars burn out. The biggest concern the court system and really society has when dealing with somebody convicted of indecent or aggravated indecent exposure is called the risk of progression. And that's the idea that people will start out committing smaller offenses and progress to ever increasingly more serious offenses. It is an unfortunate fact that many serious offenders, many serious sex criminals, many serious sexual predators started out committing much smaller crimes and progressed up. In the same way that often serial killers are found to have tortured small animals when they were children. We need to assure the court that that's not the case for our client. And we do that by using a few highly specialized counselors. And when I say highly specialized, I mean very highly specialized. These are the people that are used by the prison system to determine who's a safe bet to release. And the reason we use people who deal with such serious sex offenders is that they can clearly differentiate our clients from those more serious sex offenders and say, no, this guy is not anything like that. This was a one-off. He was frustrated, sexually frustrated, whatever, but he's not a predator in the making. And once we can assure the court that, then we're in a position to stop you from being placed in counseling until you're 147 years of age. Remember, there is no judge in the world who, given the fact that he or she could send you to jail and chooses not to, is going to lose any sleep over the fact that you may have been sent to counseling you don't need. Literally no one cares. A judge is going to say, I could have given the guy 2 years in prison, and instead of that, I stuck him in counseling. I mean, and there's really nobody around who wouldn't rather do counseling until the end of time than do 2 years in prison. But why do either when we can avoid both? At any rate, if you're facing either an indecent or aggravated indecent exposure charge, be a smart consumer of legal services. Read around. Check out our blog. We have more articles about indecent exposure than you can find any and everywhere else combined. Look to see how lawyers explain the law and how they explain their various approaches to these cases. Then exercise your smart consumer skills and call around. All of our consultations are free, confidential, and done over the phone right when you call. My team and I, as I often say, are very friendly people. We will be glad to answer your questions, explain things, and even compare notes with anything some other lawyers told you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of 2-Minute Legal.